Hello there, Governor. Acknowledging death can be quite sensitive for most people, and I bet you're thinking death is a bad thing, a scarce thought, something unimaginable to the ones surrounding you. Death can be nearly impossible to think about without the belief of an afterlife, just an end, an eternity of emptiness and nothing less. Wiped from existence, and end to everything you know and love. But maybe it's not as dreadful as it may seem. In this short video, you may come to learn about what we imply in terms of death not being as quite as bad as you might have surveyed in the moments leading up to this point. Death is a vital concept based on the sole fact of life ending and what may come after. We will explore in depth 2 points of view that could pave the way for our thinking, possibly giving a different regard and thoughts of death as a whole, including loss, meaning, and what could be after. Bernard Williams believed in not an afterlife, but an after death. He believed that everything you did now affected the future you could have had in the next life. The next life being reincarnation. He believes that death is not annihilation. In Williams' essay, in which he states on page 2, paragraph 3, if death is annihilation, then there is no such experiences. In the Epicurean phrase, when death is there, we are not, and when we are there, death is not. So, death being annihilation, there is nothing to fear. From there, he says, we can conclude that death is nothing to us and doesn't matter at all. The Epicurean phrase is a phrase that states that as long as we exist, death doesn't. But when it does come, we do not exist, possibly considering that we have nothing to worry about because we wouldn't be there to experience it. He's implying that we have nothing to fear in death, and we quite frankly agree. Johnson's theory or belief that when death occurs, our souls are reborn into another form, supernaturally. Ryan Johnson believed that whatever we did in this life, being the present, next life being the future, and the last life being the past life, affected that soul, and rather it was good or bad. For example, if you were to kill someone right now, when you die and are reborn into a new form, you will be in a lower social status form. Where you started or overall your life would be worse. This is called bad karma. But if you were to do something good, like help an old lady cross the street or feed the homeless, you would receive good karma. This is just, Johnson said, we are today the product of our long past, and we shall be tomorrow what we make of ourselves today. Karma may be inescapable, but it is not unchangeable. He says, though karma is inescapable, we can still change it based on our actions. He states that every soul is an old soul with a long brewing past. In addition, Johnson claims that this would not be unreasonable if we assume that each soul has a long past behind it and was drawn to incarnate according to karmic laws in a family whose parents could provide him with a physical vehicle and environment most suited to his further development. The point being, whatever you do in your supposed past life would be obsolete. In other words, whatever you might think could matter in your next life wouldn't actually matter in the next life, since you have other priorities that help you move forward and look past it. This further provides us evidence that death isn't a festering evil at the back of the mind to be afraid of, but something that comes naturally to all things, both living and not. We assume that death comes sorrow and discomfort, but it is still something not to be frightened of, for it's an inevitable thing that happens and gives meaning to the living part of a story. It's the grand finale no one wants but needs. Death is a reason to value things and people around you, because perhaps in the next life you won't see or even know them. Sure, having the possible idea of something close to immortality is rather tempting. There are some factors that really make you think, is this really what makes life worth living? As philosopher William and Johnson thought.